Picture a man who has everything by Roman standards: a palace on the Palatine, slaves, senators waiting for his nod, more money than he could spend in 10 lifetimes. He still wakes before dawn with his jaw clenched. The fear of losing it all feels sharper than the pleasure of having it. So he keeps a Stoic philosopher close, hoping for some trick. And the philosopher tells him something almost insulting. The only thing that can make him happy is not in that palace. It is in how he uses his own mind. That sounds like a riddle, but it is the most practical claim in ancient philosophy. The Stoics did not deny that pleasure, health, money, and reputation matter in daily life. They denied that those things can make a person happy. Happiness, the flourishing life they called eudaimonia, comes from virtue alone. The Greek word they used was arete, which means human excellence. Virtue is not being nice or passive. It is the mind working at full capacity, seeing clearly, choosing wisely, acting fairly, and enduring what must be endured. The early Stoics disagreed with one another about many details, but they all agreed on this core. For a human being, the happy life is found only in the pursuit of virtue. Think of virtue as the best operating system for moving through the world. It is the program we are meant to be following. The most complete list of Stoic virtues we have comes from Arius Didymus. He served as one of 2 close Stoic advisors to the first Roman Emperor Augustus, which tells you something important. Even the most powerful man in the world thought he needed this kind of guidance. Arius described the virtues not as moods or talents, but as essential types of practical knowledge for living. There are 4 of them, and they form a single package. The first is practical wisdom. Arius called it the knowledge of what things must be done, what must not be done, and what is neither. It leads us to appropriate acts. Inside wisdom, the Stoics placed qualities like soundness of judgment, circumspection, shrewdness, sensibleness, soundness of aim, and ingenuity. Wisdom is not book learning. It is the trained eye that sees the right move in a messy situation. The second is self-control. It is the knowledge of what things are worth choosing, what things are worth avoiding, and what is neither. Within self-control, we find orderliness, propriety, modesty, and self-mastery. Notice the emphasis on knowledge. Self-control is not gritting your teeth and suffering. It is understanding what actually deserves your desire, so that you stop burning energy on things that do not. The third is justice. Justice is the knowledge of apportioning each person and situation what is due. Under this banner, the Stoics placed piety, kindness, good fellowship, and fair dealing. Justice is not only about courts and laws. It is the daily skill of giving other people their proper share of attention, honesty, patience, and respect. Even giving the gods what is due was included, because for the Stoics, living well meant living in harmony with a larger order. The fourth is bravery. Arius defined it as the knowledge of what is terrible, what is not terrible, and what is neither. This includes perseverance, intrepidness, great-heartedness, stout-heartedness, and industriousness. Bravery is not fearlessness. It is a clear judgment that most things we call terrifying are not truly harmful to the one thing that matters: our ability to choose well. Here is the part most people get wrong. The Stoics insisted these 4 virtues are inseparable. You cannot have courage without wisdom, because courage means knowing what is truly terrible. You cannot have justice without self-control, because fairness often requires giving up your own advantage. You cannot have wisdom without justice, because a mind that sees clearly but treats people unfairly is not seeing clearly at all. They are not 4 separate rules. They are 4 faces of one unified skill, reasoning correctly about how to live. That is why the Stoics called them complete. But now we reach the revolution. To approach life this way, you have to stop believing that happiness consists in things. Most people live the opposite way. They put a promotion, a relationship, a reputation, or a bank account ahead of virtue. The Stoics saw what happens then: anxiety, isolation, and toxic emotions. When we put external things ahead of virtue, we separate our individual nature from the universal nature that connects us all. That separation feels like constant vulnerability, because every external can be lost. Watch what happens in the space of about 1 second. A car swerves into your lane. First comes an impression, something just happened. Then comes a judgment, that driver endangered me and disrespected me. That judgment, not the car, produces the heat in your chest, the gripping wheel, the surge of anger. The Stoic move is to pause between judgment and action. Ask what actually happened. A car moved. Is your ability to choose well damaged? No. Can you respond with fairness and self-control? Yes. The feeling loses its fuel. This is not suppressing emotion. It is correcting a false belief before it becomes a toxic emotion. This pause is what Epictetus, the great philosopher and former slave, called reason choice. The Greek word is proherses. He urged his students to focus only on this, our ability to use reason to choose how we categorize, respond, and reorient ourselves to external events. From a moral perspective, externals are indifferent. They are neither good nor bad in themselves. Only the value we ascribe to them and how we exercise our reason around them makes anything good or bad. Left unchecked, our desires and aversions, when governed by false beliefs, give rise to toxic emotions that cause great unsteadiness and suffering. How we put virtue to work in each case should be our sole focus. Epictetus put it this way: the essence of good is a certain kind of reasoned choice, just as the essence of evil is another kind. What about externals then? They are only the raw material for our reasoned choice, which finds its own good or evil in working with them. How will it find the good? Not by marveling at the material. For if judgments about the material are straight, that makes our choices good, but if those judgments are twisted, our choices turn bad. Think of a coin. The coin itself is neither good nor bad. The same coin can pay for food for a hungry child, or it can be used to bribe a judge. Good or evil is not in the metal. It is in the reasoned choice of the person holding it. This is why the Stoics said happiness can be found in virtue alone. Everything outside your reasoned choice is raw material. Some raw material is preferred, like health or friendship. Some is not preferred, like illness or exile. But none of it can make you a good or bad person. Only the way you use it can do that. Most people misunderstand this. They think the Stoic is cold, detached, joyless. The opposite is true. The Stoic wants to remove the suffering caused by false judgments so that a deeper kind of joy can remain. The joy of acting well, of being useful, of meeting difficulty with clarity. When you stop begging externals to make you happy, you become free to use them well. You can enjoy a meal without being enslaved to the next one. You can love a person without trying to own them. You can face danger without being ruled by fear. That is not coldness. It is the warmest form of sanity. There is a second puzzle hiding inside this. Why would virtue alone be enough for happiness when life can hit so hard? The answer is that virtue is not a reward for good behavior. It is the very condition of a healthy mind. A knife is good if it cuts well, a horse is good if it runs well, and a human being is good if they reason and choose well. The Stoics believed that when you reason and choose well, you are fulfilling your nature. And fulfilling your nature is what happiness is. It is not a mood that comes and goes. It is the steady condition of a soul in order. This is also why the Stoics spoke so much about tempering our desires, aversions, and impulses. Desire pulls us toward things. Aversion pushes us away. Impulse moves us to act. If those three forces are aligned with wisdom, self-control, justice, and bravery, then your inner life becomes coherent. You do not want what you cannot have. You do not flee what you must face. You do not act against your own values. That coherence is peace. When they are misaligned, the same three forces tear you apart. You crave approval, so you flatter. You fear loss, so you cling. You act on impulse, so you regret. Arius Didymus gave us the map, but the practice is daily. In any situation, ask what virtue is being called for. In confusion, practical wisdom asks what must be done and what must not. In temptation, self-control asks what is truly worth choosing. In conflict, justice asks what each person is due. In fear, bravery asks what is genuinely terrible. These are not four separate questions. They are four angles on the same question. How do I use my reasoned choice well right now? The early Stoics wanted a complete revolution in thinking. They asked people to stop living from the outside in and to start living from the inside out. Most of us wait for the world to give us something we can call good. We wait for the right job, the right partner, the right body, the right moment. The Stoic reverses this. He does not wait for the world to supply meaning. He supplies meaning to the world by how he judges and acts. The externals become raw material. The virtue is in the using. And that is why happiness can be found in virtue alone, not because the world stops being difficult, not because pain and loss disappear, but because the only thing that can truly harm you is a corrupted judgment, and the only thing that can truly benefit you is a straight one. If your good is in your reasoned choice, then no tyrant can take it from you. No market crash can erase it. No illness can touch it. This is not a promise of comfort. It is a promise of unshakable orientation. In the end, the Stoic claim is surprisingly gentle. It says you do not have to wait to be happy. You do not have to wait until you are rich enough, safe enough, respected enough, or loved enough. You can begin right now, in the next ordinary moment, by practicing one of the four virtues. Let the car merge. Tell the truth when it costs you something. Do the task in front of you with care. Face the small fear before it grows. The Stoics believed that every one of those acts is happiness, because every one of those acts is the excellent use of a human mind. And that is the only possession worth keeping.